They say comparison is the thief of joy. Or in this case, the death of contentment. Now, before I get into all that, I need to make good on a promise. I told my friend Ricky that he could have the original engine out of my 1985 Grumman Cub van. So I figured, what better way to take it to him than with my 1980 engine-swapped Rabbit pickup that I haven't shown you guys yet. Well, I have, but it's finished. Enough. So I figured, 5+ hour road trip wouldn't be a problem. Great. Hey guys, welcome back. This is my 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit pickup that I saved out of a cattle field in central Washington, put the spin on her over the course of 3 days, and tried to drive it 2,500 miles back to Ohio. Did it make it? No, it did not. But the story does not end there. See, my plan all along was to get this back to my garage, pull it apart, and really do it up nice. So when I got home, after getting a really expensive U-Haul, I tore the truck apart and bought a severely wrecked 2006 Volkswagen Beetle. Now the Beetle had the engine I wanted this to have, a BEW code TDI with a 5-speed manual transmission. So I got that car to the shop, pulled it apart, Christmas happened, and then I realized I was completely out of money. See, I was disillusioned at the time by my explosive growth on TikTok. I had already amassed like 70,000 followers over the course of like 3 months, and I thought that was going to be my gig, so I wasn't working at the time. And quickly found out that TikTok doesn't pay shit. So I had to go back to work if I ever wanted this to see the road again. And the project just kind of sat and sat and sat and sat until something really unfortunate happened. So after getting a job and working for a couple of months, I was driving home in my then 2004 Jetta. And whatever, it was like a Monday, I think this was early May of last year. I was just driving home, whatever, just kind of in cruise control mode. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm driving through an intersection and this girl turns left directly in front of me. Now I'm going like 55 miles an hour and I plow into this girl. I had no choice but to hit her. So that car was totaled. Caught fire, it was a disaster. Now, the one caveat here is that black Jetta that I was driving had the same powertrain that severely wrecked Beetle that I had bought had. So I now, all of a sudden, had 2 BEW 1.9 TDIs with 2 5-speeds. So I pulled the engine out of that car as well, and now I was kind of scratching my head because I had a pair of TDIs and didn't really know which one to go with and whatever. PD TDIs are known for camshaft wear. So I pulled the valve covers off both motors and realized that the engine that was in the car that I was driving was almost perfect. I mean, it looked brand new inside. So I opted to go with that engine over the Beetle's BEW, but the transmission in the black car was destroyed in the wreck. So long story short, I used the transmission out of the Beetle and the engine out of the Jetta and put them together, cleaned them up real nice, installed a little bit bigger turbo, the VNT 17, and shoved it in this truck. So that happened over the course of a few months last year, amongst other things, like completely rebuilding the brakes in this truck, all the suspension, going through the interior, new carpet, rewired the entire body harness. The list just went on and on and on and on. So if you're not privy to these trucks, this is known as an early Westy front end. Early Rabbits were built in Germany. They had round headlights and big horizontal marker lights on the fender. And to bridge that gap to the US built Rabbits, they had these square lights and kind of maintained the overall shape and vibe of the truck, but with square lights and vertical marker lights on the fender. They were a bit smaller too. And then in 81 to 84, they went to the late Westy style, which had big chunky orange marker lights here that doubled as turn signals, a little bit nicer interior. The cars kind of overall held up better than these did. So what I'm getting at is this thing had wiring issues that were exclusive to the early Westies. They shared the same fuse block and wiring as the early German cars, and it was terrible. So what I ended up doing was taking a fuse block out of a late Westie and scabbing together the wiring harness that existed in this truck, but just wired it through the other hardwired late Westie fuse block, if that makes any sense. Long story short, I made the headlights work, the signals work, the brake lights work, the fan, like the blower motor fan work, and the instrument cluster work. That's all I really needed. Now, if you've been around for a while, you'll probably remember my VR6 swapped late Westie. It was an 84 four-door Rabbit in Manila beige with a 12-valve VR6 that I had stuffed under the hood. That car was a true hot rod. It sounded amazing, it was pretty fast, and it was a total sleeper with these wheels on it. You would never know that the car was that hopped up. Completely stock, bone stock interior, bone stock exterior with the addition of a GTI grille. I absolutely loved that car. It was so much fun. But the swap wasn't exactly done the best. So my goal was to build this truck, take what I had learned from that first Rabbit and apply it to this, build it better and faster. Only it's not finished, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it because the truth is, I don't like it. So after spending the next 10 minutes rethinking the entire trip, I decided to throw caution to the wind, jumped the truck, and took it anyway. Ago, I told my good friend Ricky that I would bring him the engine out of my 1985 Grumman Olson Cub van. It's a 1.6 diesel with a 3-speed automatic transmission. This is, I believe it was Mark II parts, but it's pretty much the exact same engine that would come in a Mark I Rabbit, sort of like this. Well, we made it. The last time I was here, I was getting parts to make this thing run, which I brought back the stuff I didn't use, the extra injectors and the belt. I threw the old injectors in here. Not that you want them, but
no, I keep them
whatever.
Rebuildable.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Every overpass I hit, the truck would bottom out because the engine transmission is so heavy. Well, we have drop plates on it too, so it's already like the wheels are already like what, 2 inches higher than they should be. So the tires are rubbing up like on the top of the wheel liner up here. You're gonna come in from the side?
Gravel sucks. Yeah.
I was gonna make a comment about the fuel gauge not moving, but it could be broken, so. Now I say that because like I'd take a hill and it would move, so I think it might still work, but I'm not sure.
We'll go with the one that makes you the happiest of
right.
Really good mileage.
Yep. You know what's funny is I siphoned all the fuel out of that Mark VI parts car, dumped it right in here.
Oh, that's a good amount of money.
I know.
Price of diesel now.
Oh yeah, no, I was definitely gonna save it. Look at that. Thank you.
It's bagged up. Keep your hands clean.
Thank you, Ricky.
I'm the man.
You're the man.
And you already gave me. Wow,
whatever.
for me.
Whatever. Although I don't love the TDI swap in this truck, the truck itself, being a Mark I, hasn't lost that awesome Mark I flair. And I think if you could assign a human personality trait to a car, this would be a golden retriever. It's fun, it's light, it's playful, it's like people just see this coming and they smile and they laugh and they wave and they point and they, you know, it's just a fun thing. There's like no bad vibes with a Mark I, and especially when it's bright yellow and a little tiny pickup truck. But with that said, I'm kind of ruined because my very first Mark I swapped a VR6 into, and that car was an absolute riot. This car is too much. You don't really get to know what your engine swap is like until it's done. And I don't want to say at that point it's too late, because it's not. But at that point, you know what you've gotten into. You've spent the money, you've committed to all the parts and the time just to find out that you don't like it. It's great around town, stoplight to stoplight, you know, hearing the turbo go, sure, that's fun, it's novel, but as soon as you hit the back roads, like that drive up to Canton the other day, I mean, I drove this thing for 5 hours and that just sealed the deal. I just don't dig this engine swap. It's just not for the kind of driving that I do. I was completely spoiled with the VR6. It sounded amazing and it was pretty fast. And this is pretty quick, but it doesn't sound that good, especially when you're really giving it on a big long straightaway. It's just not doing it for me. It almost makes me wonder if I should pull it out and put something else in. This feels completely insane, but if it's just gonna sit here and I don't enjoy it, what's the point? I mean, this was a lot of money. But if I can direct that to something else, oh boy.